Hello and welcome to a series of videos introducing Examine, a web service tool for testing and interacting with web services. My name is Chris. I'm from Stratumsoft, and we are the makers of Examine. And in this video, I'm going to talk about some of the basic features in Examine and how you can download and set it up and log into Examine and as an administrator. So to learn more about Examine, you can visit our website. It's stratumsoft.com, and here you can see the list of the features that Examine provides. It's basically has two web services client tools for testing SOAP-based web services and also REST web services. It has a lot of features that make working with web services really easy. There's functionality to mock both SOAP and REST services. This helps you easily set up actual SOAP and REST service implementations before you implement the web service using your preferred programming language. There are also ways to mock the resource responses, so the responses are not always static, and they can be dynamic based on the input request criteria. Examine also comes with the ability to create both SOAP and REST test suites. So you can create test cases and group them into test suites and run them as a single unit to verify that all the web service functionality that you have created works fine. You have the ability to schedule the test suites to run at specific times. So even though you're not logged in, you can assign specific times when the test suite should run. And you can also set up an email notification when the test suite has completed its run. It provides a pretty comprehensive key store management functionality. So you can manage all your key stores and trust stores in a single location. You can name and rename and manage all the private keys and view the certificates in it. It supports both the Java key store functionality and the um, .p12 key store type. And these key stores can be shared for both SOAP and REST testing functionality. It has a very good support for security configurations, both based on WS security policy and non-policy based security configurations. These security configurations support most of the WS security standards like username token, timestamp, signing, encryption, and so on. So it has a global policy management area where you can manage all your WS security policy files. And if you don't use WS security policy, then you can also set up the individual security assertions in a separate security configuration to do both request or response only security handling. It has a built-in security token service which is based on the JBoss Picket Link project. This is especially useful when you're doing any type of SAML or WS Trust based testing. And it's very easy to set up to configure the security token service to handle both request and response WS security, and you can obtain both SAML 1.1 and 2.0 token from this STS. And the security token service is accessible through a specific endpoint, And Examine is a multi-tenant application, so for every logged in user it's possible to set up the security token service in a unique way. It's also possible to enable and disable that endpoint as and when you need, or you can have it enabled even after you have logged out of the application. There's also a STS client which uses WS Trust standard to send requests to other STS endpoints outside of Examine, and this can be used to get the different types of token from the STS that you're configured outside of Examine. There's a quick way to generate a SAML11 token entirely using the the graphical interface within Examine. You can also sign the assertion using a key store that you configured in the key store management area. Examine comes with a very good OAuth 2 client tool. OAuth 2 is a standard for getting authorization tokens from different service providers. It supports different authorization grant mechanisms. All the four mentioned here: authorization code grant, implicit grant, resource owner, password credentials, and client credentials are supported. There are callback endpoints for both the authorization code grant and the implicit grant. So these endpoints can handle the request coming from the OAuth token service provider. And it's very easy to obtain both the access and the refresh tokens and interact with the service provider before you configure your application to use OAuth 2 functionality. There are a lot of different tools that make working with web services easier. There is a XML signature generator that can be used to sign XML documents, and also an XML signature validator that can be used to verify if a signature in an XML document is valid using a public key in a trust store. And there's a schema validator that can be used to verify if the XML content is corresponds to or conforms to XML schema. And there is a XPath evaluator tool where you can create XPath 1.0 expressions against XML content, and also a way to transform XML content from one form to another using XSLTs. There's a very handy tool to generate XML schema instance documents from XML schemas. So once you have configured the XML schemas, once you've uploaded them, you can pick the elements for which you should generate the XML content. There is a XML to JSON and back converter also available. This makes it very easy to transform XML data to JSON content using both the Badgerfish and the mapped convention standards. And there are also other tools to configure email and IM notifications. You can, like I said, it has multi-tenant functionality, so you can set up multiple users, both an administrator and regular user roles. And there are ways to manage the user sessions. So you can, as an administrator, you can log in and view the list of logged in users. And there are many other functionalities that you can check out by logging into Examine. So the next I'm going to show you how to set up Examine on your system locally. So the first thing to do is download a copy of Examine. So you can click on download at the bottom of the page here, or click on download here at the top. and it should take you to the download page where you can see the latest version, and there's brief instructions on how to set it up, which I'll go through briefly now. So you can click on download, and you should be able to download a copy of it without having to sign up or log into anything. So this is about 75 MB in size, so it'll take a little bit of time. So we'll just wait for it to download now. So once the file has gotten downloaded, you can open the archive. In my case, it's in the downloads folder and it has already been unarchived. So you can see here that there is a examine 251 folder, and this is the file structure in the unarchived folder. There are a couple of shell scripts for both the Windows and Linux Mac platform. There is a startup and a shutdown script. To start examine, you should now go to terminal, or in the case of Windows, go to command prompt and open the location where you have unarchived the file. So in my case it's in downloads. You go to examine, and the first thing we have to do is set the executable permission for the shell scripts. So I'm just going to do chmod execute permission for all the shell scripts, and that should give me executable permission for the start examine and the stop examine shell script files. And you also have to verify that you have Java on your path. So it is recommended to use Java 1.7 or 1.8 at a minimum. So you can verify that by typing in java-version, and that should tell you what version of Java you're running. If this command does not execute, then you have to first install JDK or JRE that you can obtain from the Oracle website, and configure your system path according to the platform you're in, so that the Java executable is in the path. So in my case, if I type which Java, it tells me that it's in user bin Java. So the next step is to start examine. This can be done using the shell scripts. For Linux or Mac, you can use the start examine.sh file, and this will start the server on port 8080 for the HTTP request, and by default there's also a SSL port that's enabled on port 8443. So if you already have another application that's using these ports, you might see an error if the ports are already taken, in which case you should, the application may not start and you will have to configure the ports correctly. To do that, I direct you to the examine documentation page. There's a single and a multi-page version. So if you click on the multi-page, you should be able to read up on all the features and the various functionalities in examine. And to change the port, this is the direction that you have to follow for the HTTP and the HTTPS port. But if you didn't have any conflicts, then it should start up correctly on port 8080, and you can go to your local host, port 8080, and this is the login page for the product. By default, examine comes with one predefined login. The username is admin and the password is also admin, and it's highly recommended that you change this after you log in the very first time. And this is the initial user interface that you will see once you log into the product. And you can see that by default there is a 2-week evaluation license that's automatically generated for the product when you first start it. And you can go to about help to access the same help contents that I just showed you earlier. And if you like to report a bug or give us any feedback, you can use these options, and that should launch the appropriate URL to report a bug or give us any feedback on the product. So once you have logged in, first thing you can do is go to the administration tab and then click on admin, and here you can set the administrator information and set the new password that you would like to use. It also gives you the ability to add new user and whether they should be an administrator or not. And all the various features that I mentioned earlier in the video are accessible from the starting interface page. So this is the very first tab is the projects page that allows you to create different types of projects. You can create a SOAP client or a REST client or a mock SOAP service or a mock REST resource. So we'll cover each of these functionalities in upcoming videos, so please stay tuned for those. So this is a very high level introduction on what Examine is and what are the different features that Examine has, how you can download and set it up. So that pretty much concludes this video. There will be more videos in the next few days that will cover all the functionalities that we have in Examine, how to create projects, how to set up test suites, how to configure the WS security and other security configurations, how to set up your security token service to issue SAML tokens to outside clients, and an overview of all the tools that are available, and how you can change some of the HTTP settings that Examine uses, and how you can update your profile, how you can update your product license, and how to view all the sessions and so on. So there's a lot of information that we will cover in the next few videos, and this is just to give you a brief overview of what the product really does. Hope you liked it, and please stay tuned for more upcoming videos. Thank you.